Good morning. It is the end of August. We're gearing up for another big canning day today. We actually had our first frost warning of the season last night, which is crazy because in Michigan zone 5A, we typically have another 6 weeks until our first expected frost date. So that was a little crazy. We didn't even find out about it until like 10 o'clock last night when we were going to bed. So there really wasn't anything we could do about it. We decided we'll just see what happens. We didn't really think it was gonna frost. Fortunately, it didn't. We still have lots of food out here that we need to harvest, and having a frost like that would be extremely upsetting. So here are our tomatillos. I have some peas mixed in here too. I have some really big ones. And then there's some smaller ones in here. So I'm not sure. This is my first year growing tomatillos. So I'm not sure how much salsa we're gonna get today. My plan is to harvest most of these. Like this one's really little. There's not even like a fruit in there. So that's staying. Like this one's nice. But my plan is to harvest most of these and make some salsa verde. I have a purple variety down here, but these aren't ready. I don't know if they're like more of like a late season tomatillo. But like there's a little fruit in that one, but not big enough to pick. So these ones are gonna stay, and I'm just gonna pick the ones off of my green tomatillo plant. So as I'm harvesting them, I am only harvesting ones that feel like the fruit is filled out into the husk. And I'll just leave the smaller ones to do another batch with later. So this is what it looks like without a husk. I just pulled this one and it came right out. So looking at my basil plants, I'm pretty sure we got a little bit of frost or some kind of too cold temperature for basil. Basil's really sensitive. That's always the first one to go once it frosts. For my green salsa, I also need to harvest some jalapenos. I don't want it to be too hot, so I'm just getting this many. Might not even use all of this, but I'm just gonna grab them while I'm out here. So we already have all of our onions out of the ground, but I did hang some up for future recipes. And then also all of our garlic is hanging up in here too. So this is all the tomatillos that were ripe. I really was anticipating that there was a lot more out there that were getting ripe. There were some that were overripe and mushy, and then a lot that just weren't ready yet. So hopefully our frost holds off and I can have another 6 weeks of growing for these plants. So here's the garlic and the onions that I cut down. But these have stored really well. They're really dry. This is our first time hanging up onions like this to dry. Our first time outside doing it. I've done it in the house before and they just didn't dry well. And that's why we started chopping all of our onions and putting them in the freezer. But I did a little experiment this year. I don't know how long these would last. Some of them are kind of getting soft. So I still think chopping them and putting them in the freezer is my preferred method. But to have fresh later for canning recipes, this way works out well. I might not use all of this stuff in my salsa today, but the extra garlic I can just put in the house and we can use it for meals during the week, and same thing with the onions. It was actually starting to get pretty warm out now, so I put a t-shirt on, put some shorts on, and now that I'm in the shade, it's actually kind of a little chilly. Here in Michigan in the morning, like we're in the time of year where you gotta wear like pants and a sweatshirt, and then in the afternoon it's really hot and you have to put on shorts and a t-shirt. It's actually just late morning, it's not afternoon yet, but it still is getting pretty warm. We grow hardneck garlic here, so it has like a little stem that comes up and it has garlic scapes, and this stores longer than softneck garlic. I can't remember the name of this. It's like chestnut red or something like that. This is our 3rd year growing it, and we grow enough garlic that we can replant garlic with our garlic that we already grew. I have this little garlic roller thing I got on Amazon. You just put a clove in there and you roll it around, and sometimes I don't get this lucky, but this was a nice one, so it just popped right out. I hate peeling garlic. These are some really nice bulbs that we grew. I do think that I grabbed garlic from the garlic that we were supposed to plant in the fall. We try to save the best cloves for that. I did have it marked with a clothespin where like this was the last one for planting, and then the next batch over and like going down the row was for using. And we did not see this clothespin when we were cutting the garlic down. But that's all right. We still have a lot in there that is big that we can plant with, and it'll make my job easier today using big cloves of garlic instead of the small ones. So like this one, it didn't come all the way off, so I'm just gonna finish peeling it. I have the garlic all peeled. Now it's time to move on to the onions. So when you hang onions up to dry, you don't wash them first. So these onions are pretty dirty, and I don't want to cut into them and get dirt on them, so I'm gonna wash them first. And I'm just trying to get some of the extra dirt off. I'm gonna cut the skins off and the roots off. I just don't want to get dirt on the onion once I start cutting into it. So some of these are not actually holding up well like I thought they were. The inside on this one's a little rotted. It's like this one has some rot on it. I might have to go out there and get the rest of those onions and process them and put them in the freezer. I don't know what I'm doing wrong when I go to store my onions that way, but I've never had success hanging them and drying them to use them for later. Like this one's really bad. I have the onions all chopped up, and next are the jalapenos. So for the jalapenos, I am gonna wear gloves. I don't want the oils from the jalapenos to be on my hand and burn them. And then if you touch your eye or anything, then that burns. So I just wear gloves every time I do hot peppers. I'm just gonna cut the stem part off, cut them in half. I actually don't want our salsa to be too hot, so I think this is all I'm going to do. I can always add more later. So now onto the tomatillos. I'm going to just peel the husks off of them and throw them in the water. Some of these do have some bad spots on them, and I'll just cut those off with a knife before I make my salsa with them. I did pick some that were kind of small. I just wanted to have enough for a batch of salsa. There's still a lot more out there. It's like this one has a lot of bad spots on it. I could probably cut them off with a knife. If not, it'll just go to the chickens. Some of these bigger ones, I'm just gonna cut them down into quarters. I'll make them cook quicker and be easier to blend. The smaller ones, I'm just gonna throw in. And then any with the bad spots, I'm just gonna cut that off. And those are gonna go to the chickens. So this is our first year growing tomatillos, and I did not, oh yuck. I did not realize how sticky they were when you pulled the husk off. But the actual, the skin is kind of sticky. It's going away as I'm washing it. And then I heard it goes away as you cook it too. But I was just very surprised that they were so sticky. So since we don't have that many tomatillos, we decided to add some green tomatoes to this. I have made a green tomato salsa before and it was pretty good. I really just wanted to do a true authentic Salsa Verde, but the plants didn't cooperate. And I kind of want to just get this on my shelf. I don't have time to store these and then wait for other ones to be ready. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna peel and blanch these green tomatoes like if I were doing a normal canning recipe. I'm just gonna put them in like a tomatillo and hope for the best. So next we're gonna roast everything out here in cast iron pans, and then we're gonna transfer it into that pot to cook down more. I think the roasted flavor is really gonna make it taste delicious. You can do it in an oven, you can do it on the grill. This is the method I'm gonna choose today. So I'm gonna start with some olive oil. I'm using olive oil this year to can with instead of coconut oil like I did last year, because once the coconut oil cools off, it solidifies back up and it just doesn't look appeasing in the jars. So I did go and buy olive oil yesterday for this. I also have cilantro and limes that I bought, and those are not going to be roasted. Those are going to be put in later. I need to let my pans heat up a little bit more first. I think some people put vinegar in theirs. We'll see when we taste it at the end what we want to add. I've seen that if it's too sour from the tomatillos, that you can add sugar or honey to make it sweeter. But we'll see. This is my first time making this. I really love green salsa. I'll just see how it goes and just kind of play with it at the end. Don't be scared to add more oil when you need it. I don't want this to burn, but I also want it to get some color on it. I think this one's looking pretty good, and I'm going to dump it into our pot. So if you're not familiar with cooking with cast iron, these get really hot, so keep a pot holder to pick this up. And then I'm just going to keep refilling my pans till this is all cooked. I'm going to try to mash some of these tomatillos up a little bit more just to get some more juice out of them. And then I'm going to let them simmer in this pot for a while. I want to keep an eye on them so the bottom doesn't burn. So while this is simmering right now, I am going to chop up some cilantro and add that to it also. So I did stop at the store last night on my way home from work, Bought some cilantro. I bought this from Gordon's Food Service, or like a restaurant supply company. I did stop at Sam's Club and they didn't have any, so I went there. It says it's washed, trimmed, and ready to use. I really like cilantro, in my opinion. You can never have too much. I did buy a 1 pound bag in anticipation of having a lot more tomatillos than I did. But I'll use this cilantro for other things also. I might check my red tomatoes today and see about making a batch of regular salsa also. So here's what the sauce looks like right now. I did let it cool for a couple of hours before I did this next step. All right, so I have it all blended up. It does need some salt. And then I need to put some lime juice in it. And maybe more cilantro. We'll see how it tastes after I do the lime juice. Oh my God. That was not supposed to happen. All right, so now I got that all washed up and cleaned. I could have just bought like lime concentrate, but that has a lot of added extra ingredients, so I wanted to use fresh limes. So this is pretty good. I think I should have blended it a little bit more. I definitely made more than I thought I did. I thought I only made a couple of jars. Next time I make this, I'm not sure if I will roast it. I might try it not roasted. It's good, but I think I like regular Salsa Verde more. I will have to make that and see. So it is really pretty, tastes good, looks good. I'm gonna wipe the rims with some vinegar and hot water, get the lids, rings on, get this cleaned, and get them in the canner. So these processed in the water bath canner for 15 minutes. And then I took the lid off of the canner for 5 minutes to kind of let it cool down before I pulled the jars out. Look really nice. That's going to be it for this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.